The hardest part about growth is not everybody is going to grow with you. You change quietly. You fix habits nobody applauded you for fixing. You'll heal wounds nobody knew you were bleeding. You outgrow reactions that once defined you. But when people from your past look at you, they still see who you were, not who you fought to become. And that can feel unfair. You're not who they remember, but they don't see that work. They don't see the nights you choose discipline over distraction. They don't see the conversations you rehearsed in your head so you could respond calmly. They don't see the self-control it took not to fall back into old patterns. They remember the loud version of you, the emotional version, the unsure version, because that's the version they experienced. Growth is often invisible to people who aren't watching closely. People freeze you in time. If they met you when you were insecure, they'll keep speaking to that insecurity. If they met you when you were immature, they'll keep expecting that same reaction. If they met you when you were tolerated disrespect, they'd be surprised when you don't anymore. But that version of you, it expired. You're not who they remember. You're someone who learned. Learned what not to tolerate. Learned when to walk away. Learned that peace is better than proving a point. You stopped reacting to everything. Stopped chasing validation. You stopped explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. That didn't happen by accident. That took effort. And sometimes the people who say, you've changed, don't actually mean it as a compliment. They mean, you don't act this way you used to. And they're right. You don't. Because the old way costs you too much. Growth makes some people uncomfortable. When you level up, it challenges that dynamic they were used to. If you were used to overgive, they'll notice when you stop. If you used to tolerate everything, they'll notice when you set boundaries. If you used to shrink to keep the peace, they'll notice when you stand firm. But discomfort doesn't mean you're wrong. It means pattern change. You're not who they remember. You're calmer now, more intentional, more aware of your energy. You don't react the same. You don't argue the same. You don't attach the same. Maybe they don't recognize you. That's okay. You weren't meant to stay the same forever. Here's something powerful. You don't owe anyone your old identity. You don't owe anyone access to a version of you that outgrew itself. You don't have to perform your past just because it makes someone else look comfortable. You're allowed to evolve, even if it confuses people, even if it distances you from old circles. There will be people who try to remind you of your mistakes, who bring up old stories, old labels, old failures, as if you didn't learn from them. But your past is proof of growth, not a prison. If someone only sees your old chapters, it's because they stopped reading. You kept writing. You're not who they remember. You're someone who became disciplined, someone who became selective, someone who became harder to manipulate. And sometimes people mistake growth for arrogance. They say, you're different. But different isn't bad. Different means improved. Not everyone gets to experience the updated version of you. Some people only knew the draft, the unfinished version, the insecure version, the reactive version. But you edited yourself. You redefined yourself. You strengthened yourself. And that process didn't need an audience. Outgrowing people is uncomfortable. It feels like distance. It feels like losing familiarity. But sometimes, growth requires separation. Not because you think you're better, but because you refuse to go backwards. And going backwards, just to make someone comfortable, is self-betrayal. You're not who they remember, and that's a sign you moved forward. If you were still the same person you were years ago, that would be the real problem. Growth should create contrast. There should be a visible difference between who you were and who you are now. That's called progress. The most powerful thing you can do is let people misunderstand you. Let them talk about the old you. Let them remember what they want. You don't need to argue your growth. You just live it. Consistency will speak louder than explanations ever could. You're not who they remember. You're stronger now, more self aware, more in control of your emotions, more protective of your peace. Not everyone will understand that version, because not everyone is meant for your future. Some people were only meant for your chapter, not your whole book. So stop trying to convince people you've changed. Stop trying to prove that you're different. Just keep becoming better. Keep evolving quietly. Keep building a version of yourself that your past self would not recognize. Because the goal was never to stay the same. The goal was to grow. And you did.